Good afternoon. My name is Wayne Edwards and I'm the principal at UTC Heathrow, and thank you for joining me today. Today is going to be very much about the curriculum, about the subjects that we offer in detail. I'm not going to talk about the school in general. That generally happens during my Meet the Principal sessions. And during today, the senior team will join us at different points in the meeting to talk through their areas. So on to today's meeting. So the first thing we are going to do is to look at the curriculum itself. And those of you who've been to the meetings with me prior would have seen this slide about what we offer at Key Stage 4. Following this, we're going to talk through the curriculum as it is. Talk through Key Stage 4 first, then all about Key Stage 5. So as I've said in the past, students will study the core subjects of English language and literature, mathematics, biology, chemistry and physics. They will also study the engineering certificate and the level 2 IT certificate, and they would choose one option, and that option would either be computer science or design and technology, dependent on what specialism route they would like to go. So I'm going to first talk through English. So we cover AQA English here at the UTC, and as part of that we do AQA language and literature. It's a 9-to-1 paper, and paper 1 looks at creative reading and writing, and paper 2 looks at the writer's viewpoint. A breakdown of the papers itself. So within that, the creative writing section, it's a 1 hour and 45-minute paper. 40 marks are based on reading and 40 marks on writing. There's 1 short question, 2 longer questions, and an extended question at the end. The extended question is always worth the most marks. So it's always good to go and try and work on your extended question because it's worth half of the paper marks. Paper 2 is the same amount of time, and that looks at different things. So within that, you've got the different perspectives, the grammar, the different language types that you would use to describe all the different things that we do within English. So again, you look at 2 non-fiction sources and interpret those, a shorter question, 2 longer questions, and once again there is an extended question again and again. That extended question is worth 40 marks. So a little hint for June GCSEs moving forward in English language: do the extended question first and then work backwards. Would be my recommendation, as that's worth half of the paper. Again, as I said, English literature is done with AQA, and part of that paper 1 looks at Shakespeare and a 19th century novel, and paper 2 looks at modern text and poetry. So those books are really simple. For paper 1, the Shakespeare book that our Year 11s are currently studying is Macbeth, and the 19th century novel is An Inspector Calls, and they were studied, and that will be their paper 1 paper, and that's out of 64 marks. Same time limit as what English language is, 1 hour and 45, and it looks at spelling and grammar within there as well. The paper 2, the modern text and poetry, so they'll study an anthology of 16 poems and also do modern text of Christmas Carol within there, and I'll come back. I've just forgot the other book. It will come back to me in a minute. As I said, a Christmas Carol. No, so I'll answer that question later. Within there, and those books are all those modern texts that are popular books that we read, and we'll go through. But that paper is a lot longer because you're looking at the 2 texts that you'll follow within those areas, and the poetry and the anthology. It's a longer paper, so it's a 2 hour 15-minute paper within there. Onto GCSE mathematics, and we study Pearson and Excel, and as you would expect with mathematics, there's 6 key areas: a number, algebra, ratio, geometry, probability, and statistics. 2 tiers are available. So again, you can do higher in foundation. Foundation goes up to grade 5, and higher goes all the way up to grade 9. Within that, there are 3 papers that you study, and they're all equal weighting between them. Paper 1 is a non-calculator, paper 2 is calculator, and paper 3 is calculator. Combined total of all 3 papers will formulate what that grade will be. The breakdown of topics studied within that, so the foundation paper and their weighting, you look at number, algebra, ratio, geometry, statistics, and probability. And the higher paper do the same, looking at the same aspects, but at a higher level. You'll study 6 hours per week. There are 4 specialist maths teachers. There's regular unit assessments and a program of study, exercise books, and we use My Maths as well as a platform. On to GCSE Science. GCSE Science is by AQA, and we do the 3 separate sciences are biology, chemistry, and physics. Or in year 11 is where we speak with yourselves and the students and look at assessments, and whether we think the 3 doing the single sciences is hard, we move you down to the trilogy, which is the combined science of 2 GCSEs. The content you study through all of it is very similar. It's the amount of depth dependent within the trilogy or the separate sciences. That is the difference between them. But the biology content is there from cell biology all the way through to ecology, from atomic structure in chemistry through to chemistry in the atmosphere, and energy through to magnetism and electromagnetism. There are 28 practicals that you would study. However, current climate is they are demonstrations which are done over the course of the study itself. Onto IT. IT is done by Cambridge National, and it's, as I've said in the past, it's a general IT qualification. You will study aspects of Excel. You'll learn to create databases by using Microsoft Access, and you can do the professional qualifications as part of that. Within that, again, there is units that you will follow, and the 2 unit exams are both, one is a written paper, an hour and 45 minutes about IT in general, what makes up a computer, the processor, looking at cybersecurity within there as well. The second unit is what's a 20-hour controlled assessment. As part of that, you're given a task, then you have to go through project management stages of how to complete that task, and write an Excel spreadsheet, and then write a database based on what you are given in front of you. The grading is different than GCSE 1 to 9. The grading is done as a level 1 pass all the way through to level 2 distinction star. The distinction star is equivalent to a grade 8/9, distinction equivalent to grade 7, a merit 6, and a level 2 pass equivalent to grade 5/4, to give you an idea. EAL, I'm going to pass you over to Ian Wilkins, who's the assistant principal here, and he's going to talk through EAL engineering and DT.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, apologies if you hear a dog barking in the background. I'm working from home today, and she sometimes gets a little bit crazy. So the EAL engineering is a professional qualification that the students will start taking in year 10. It is worth a GCSE, but as I said, it's recognised by this professional body, the engineering EAL qualification. It comes in basically 2 parts, the practical work and an exam. They are both equally weighted. So 50% is from the work that the students do in school and 50% from an online exam. The online exam is great because we as a centre get to choose when the students take the exam. It's not controlled by traditional exam boards. So whenever the students are ready to take the exam, they can take it. If they're ready early, then they can take it early. And if they do take the exam early, they have an opportunity then to go on to do another qualification as well. The main areas that we cover, there are 3 units that you have to cover. Unit 1 is health and safety, Unit 2 is technical drawing, and Unit 3 is practical work. And then there's some extension work and the synoptic, which is like their final project that the students then spend a lot of time on their manufacturing. And the design and technology is one of the options that we run. This is a traditional design technology GCSE, levels 1 to 9. It's got a 2-hour exam, which is worth 50%. And then the other 50% is based on their coursework, a traditional design technology project, a problem solving exercise where the students develop a project over the year, developing all their folder work and their coursework that goes with that, and then designing and making the actual product. And then, as I said, an extension for year 11, if they complete the EAL qualification, then they can go on to do another qualification which specializes in computer-aided design and manufacturing. It has a 1-hour exam, very similar to the EAL qualification, so that's great. And then there's the manufacturing aspect as well, which, as I've said, is mostly based on computer-aided design, but it does do some heavy mechanical work on the center lathes, which leads very nicely into the Key Stage 5 courses. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ian, for that. And we're going to move on to Key Stage 5 now. So that concludes the detail of the courses. And at the end, we will have some questions, I'm sure, from yourselves in relation to those. If you do have any questions, please put them in the chat function. At the end, I will stop sharing this PowerPoint and we'll all come on screen to answer those. The final one, sorry, is a GCSE Computer Science, and GCSE Computer Science is a 9-to-1 qualification. It looks at computer systems, computational thinking and algorithms, and it will also look at some programming. The programming language that you'll use is Python. It's done by OCR, and again, it's a really good skill to have. So Key Stage 5 curriculum, as I've said in the past, we do 3 A levels here, and that's GCSE Mathematics, GCE Mathematics, GCE Physics, and an A level in Computer Science. The entry requirements for the 6th form are 5 GCSEs at grade 4 and above, with a grade 6 minimum to study these A levels in that subject. And that's really important because, you know, the jump from GCSE to A level is big. And, you know, everyone asks me, and questions have been asked, how big a jump is it? It's a big jump. It's probably 15 times harder than the GCSE as you go through the course. So it's important that you're at the right level to begin with to succeed. So on to A-level mathematics. And A-level mathematics we offer here is run by Pearson. There's 3 papers. Each paper is is 2 hours in length, and they cover a range of topics. So used to be, when it used to be AS and A2 of people who knew A-level maths, there used to be 2 papers in pure statistics, separate paper, and a separate paper in mechanics. With the A-levels now, they are linear. So you sit your exam at the end of the 2 years. And what the examining boards have done now is put it into 3 papers, and you'll sit them all in the same year, in that summer, not at the same time, by the way. So you'll cover pure 1 maths, and that's from proof all the way down to vectors. And within that as well, you go into more depth as you get into paper 2 and pure maths 2. Some of these most of these topics you would have done a little bit when it comes to GCSE, but it then goes into more depth. Paper 3, we do statistics and mechanics here because it works nicely, mechanics with physics, but also with engineering, and it's a good A level to study alongside those qualifications. But again, you look at different aspects within there. Physics. So if you're going to choose A-level mathematics, A-level physics, they're really good complementary subjects to go together. And again, they're based on 3 papers. Again, each paper is 2 hours in length. And again, it is linear. So all the A-levels that you study are linear. You will sit them all in the same year that you finish the course, always at the end of year 13 now. There's no A2 papers or A1 papers, as it used to be called, for the AS. They all go in at the same time. And paper 1's all about periodic motion. Paper 2 is all about thermal physics, and paper 3 is all about is a practical element. So you have to have a practical logbook that you write your own notes and then data analysis. And within that, you look at different sections that are covered. There are 12 practicals that you have to study, and I have to know them in depth and are observed and are written up. Computer science. Computer science follows on for the GCSE quite nicely. Again, it's from OCR, so the same examining board, it follows through. The weighting is different. So you have a project which is worth 20%, and it's based on a programming project. And again, the programming language that you used is Python, and the rest is on an 80% is on the exam. The 2 papers you'll sit within that. You look at algorithms and programming for paper 2, and how you solve problems and different aspects, and you cannot use a calculator as part of that. So you've got to work them out by looking at binary, hexadecimal, and other software languages within there. The paper 1 is all about the computer systems itself, so how the PC works internal, a bit like the IT at level 2 and the GCSE computer science. You look at data exchange, software development, data types, ethical issues, and different aspects. Final thing is the project. So, we've put some examples there. It's an independent project, and the project is chosen by the students. And some examples have been about a Taekwondo simulation, behavior management system, but it could be on anything that the students think about that they can actually program on and show how that works. It's done over a length of time, so it takes some time because it is worth 20% of that course itself. Finally, onto the specialisms. So alongside the A-levels, we've got the specialisms, and the specialisms interlink with our A-levels. So the extended certificate is equivalent to 1 A-level, and that can be studied alongside any 2 of the 3 A-levels that we offer. The diploma is the equivalent of 2 A-levels, and again, that can be studied alongside 1 of the other A-levels. And the extended diploma is its own qualification in itself. It's worth the equivalent of 3 A-levels. You can go to university with all of these. I always get asked that question. You definitely can, and we have a number of students go on to great courses by doing the extended diploma in engineering or IT. Entry requirements are 5 GCSEs at grade 4 and above as of the A-levels. However, you do need to have a grade 5 in mathematics. And the reason for this in engineering in particular is that there are 2 units called mathematics and engineering and further mathematics and engineering. And it is the equivalent of an A-level, what they study within those. And you need to be at least at a grade 5 to understand them and to achieve the best you can. So I'm going to pass you back to Ian, and Ian's going to talk through the specialisms themselves.
So these are just some of the examples. So as Mr. Edwards said, everything is worth the equivalent of 3 A-levels by the end. So the students that would study the level 3 certificate, and this is the same really for engineering and the IT option, it's the amount of engineering or the amount of IT that's different for each of the different qualifications. So the certificate is worth 1 A-level. So you can see here that we split the year 12 up into the yellow box and the year 13 into the blue box. So they'll do 2 of their units, like 2 sorts of subjects within engineering, each of the 2 different sets of years. And then the diploma does something similar. It looks like they do slightly less in year 12 because unit 1 and 3 are double units. So they basically do 6 sets of units in year 12 and 6 sets of units in year 13. All of the courses that we've chosen, the certificate, the diploma, and the extended diploma, cover a wide range of the different skills within engineering. Units 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 have different levels of being mandatory. And then we've also tack on Unit 8, the further engineering maths, because for those students that want to go to university, universities always require that as one of the options. And then you can see there are some other options that we do. So for this example, on the diploma students, Unit 19 and 27 are optional in that they're extra, but they still have to do it. And we've chosen those to be what the school does for the diploma as the option. And for the certificate students, they actually do their option in Year 12, which is Unit 35, the computer programming. If I can have the next slide, please. So then the extended diploma builds upon everything else. So you will notice that some of the units are the same. So for example, Unit 1 is core to every level of the engineering qualification. So everybody does the engineering principles qualifications. And then for the extended diploma, as I've said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are core for them. So in their Year 12, we add on Unit 10 and Unit 25, which allows them to develop their skills in computer-aided design. And then we do a little bit of the chemistry behind the metallic materials of the Unit 25. And then in Year 13, the extended diploma students do these options of 19, 26, 22, 41, and 47. And that allows them to decide what they want to do when they move forward. We don't specifically choose to do different types of engineering. We've just kept engineering open as the option, because when students go to university, then they get to choose. There are some limitations. So for example, Unit 66 is the only unit that somebody would have to do aviation engineering. And that is something that we can do as an extra in an after-school club. We actually are building a plane. But if the students specialize for us in level 3, aviation engineering can't take them onto, say, mechanical engineering at a degree. But our course in engineering can lead to every option when they move forward. There are some exams. So we have Units 1 and 3 exams are taken in Year 12 at the end of Year 12. We do that in Year 12 because then that does give them a reset opportunity in Year 13 if it hasn't gone so well for them. The Unit 6 exam, microcontroller systems, is taken early in Year 13, round about Christmas time normally, so that they then have the opportunity towards the end of Year 13 to take it again if they need to. And then the other internally assessed units are graded on pass, merit, or distinction. Based on how they do for the internal units and the external exam, then the exam board can award the distinction star, the holy grail of our engineering qualification. And then it's very similar in the IT specialism. It's exactly the same sort of process. You can see how it's laid out. So the certificate, the diploma, and the extended diploma are the 3 sets of columns. The M's are what's mandatory, and the O's are the optional units that the students will take when we pick for them. The guided learning hours are the equivalents. So when it talks about the 120 guided learning hours, that means that's a double unit. The 90 guided learning hours means that's like a unit and a half, and the 60 guided learning hours refers to what we would normally call a single unit. Each of the single units gets 1 or 2 lessons a week, and it's the same for the engineering qualification. It's a very similar structure to both sets of courses. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ian. My video back on. So the IT qualification, as you can see there, covers a wide range of different things. And what this does do is allow students to have the skills to move on to a degree or an apprenticeship in any of those areas. As I said, we do the professional qualifications that run alongside this, and students doing this course in the A-level computing have been able to get some Cisco qualifications, as students have been taught some Cisco quals directly and Palo Alto qualifications in regards to cybersecurity. So that's it really. That is our curriculum. That's what we offer here at the UTC. the subjects, there's not as many subjects as you will find in the secondary school. That's because we work with our industry partners in regards to these, and these are the skills that they produce. The GCSEs are the same as any secondary school. They're the same level, they're the same GCSE qualification, they're from the same boards. It just depends what examining board that they do. If they do AQA English, we do AQA, it's the same qualification. The actual qualifications themselves are the same in any educational setting. So that's important for you to know. If you are still interested and still want a place, that there aren't many left, please apply online via the website and click apply, and be walked through the details of going through that application process and contacted by our admissions team. As I said, any information we haven't been able to get across to you or haven't answered them fully, please drop us an email via info@heathrow-utc.org, and we'll be able to answer your questions from there. Right, I'm going to stop sharing, and Ian and I are going to come back on screen, and what we'll do then is answer whatever questions in the chat or any questions that you might have. Right, I'm on screen, Ian's on screen. Okay, so I'm just looking through the chat. Rebecca, you asked the question in regards to GCSEs, the same level as mainstream school. Hopefully I've answered that. Yes, the answer is yes, they're exactly the same. So in relation to how many students you usually have at A-level and BTEC courses, our A-level groups are quite small in that sense. We maths, there's 2 groups at the moment, and there's roughly about 13 in each of those. And physics, there's about 15 in the physics A-level groups. In our BTEC courses, we've got in year 12, there's 83 students studying BTEC in over 4 classes, and over 60, and about 60 in year 13 over 3. So in relation to students, that we've got quite a few students. Well, I'll come back to the maths question, and I'll let Ian answer that one in a second. So answer at the bottom, if a student does GCSE Tech, can he do an A-level computer science? Yes, if everyone does the IT qualification. So the option you can choose is either do a GCSE in computer science or GCSE in DT. If it's at A-level and you're talking about the technical qualifications, if you've done GCSE Tech, you can still study A-level computer science as long as you've got a merit from that qualification. Ian, it's a question to do with pure and applied maths.
I guess that's the A-level maths question. So the pure maths element would be, the typical applications of maths in its purest sense of form, using the formula. And the applied maths is much more about what we would use with Newton's laws and things like that. Are the main difference. But because it's all one part of the same course and the same syllabus, it isn't broken down anymore to separate. They used to get A-levels in pure and A-levels in applied maths. It is now just how the delivery is put across. Okay,
hopefully that's answered that question. How many students are there in year 10? We are looking for 50 students in year 10. There's 51 in our current year 10, and they split into 2 groups as their tutor groups. 2 groups in English, 2 groups in maths, and 2 groups in science. In engineering, they're split into 2 groups, and then it goes into their option groups. And there's 1 computer science groups and 2 DT groups. So as I said, we're looking at 50. Next year, group sizes will be similar. So roughly between 25 in their core lessons, and in their option lessons, you're looking at less, dependent on how many students choose that option, but probably about 20 students. To do A-level physics, GCSE grade you'll need is a grade 6. in GCSE in your trilogy. So if you're doing trilogy, you'll get 2 grades, either 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 5 onwards. And what happens is that you'll be able to study A-level physics. Ian, do you want to answer that question on the day?
The times of the day. Okay, so Key Stage 4, it's a normal school day. They start at 8:30, they finish at 3:30 with lunch and break in between. Key Stage 5, that we use study periods during the school day. So some students will not need to be in school from 8:30. They might have a study period at the beginning of the day, meaning they start at 9:30. And then at the end of the day, they might finish their lessons at 2:30. If their study periods are at the end of the day, then they are free to travel home at the end of the day and then catch up with their work when they get home. We do run a flexible Key Stage 5 timetable. As much as possible, we try to block their lessons together, because obviously they don't have the full 30 lessons like a Key Stage 4 student would have, because they've opted and they specialize in individual subjects. So they don't have lessons all the time. And if we can block the lessons together, it does mean that we, for example, can get them off school on Fridays or the Friday afternoon. This is really useful to us because we have a lot of the sponsors and employers want to work with the students. And so we can use the Friday afternoons so that the employers work with them without disturbing their lessons. But to answer the question, Key Stage 4 always finish at 3:30. Key Stage 5, it varies because of their option blocks.
Okay, thank you for that, Ian. Other questions? So in regards to the question about can you go home and come back if you don't afterwards, yes, your study periods, if you've got a lesson in the morning, the sixth form, because it's a wider day as such and you don't have lessons all the time, there is the opportunity I can attend your next lesson. So the answer is yes to that question. However, you might want to use the time to do your CAD work if it's engineering or other aspects.
I'll just jump in with Rebecca. I was trying to answer it by typing, but I think I've answered it live. So how many are there in year 10? In the year 10 groups that we've got at the moment, we've got 2 sets of year 10 classes. It will be similar next year, and there are 25 in each of those classes, and there will be 25 in each of next year's year 10 classes.
Are there any more questions? I'm just trying to go through if we haven't answered any. Please feel free to ask any questions. If we've missed anything, I'm trying to think of questions we've been asked about the curriculum before.
A popular question, and we did sort of say this, a popular question is often, if somebody wants to do an apprenticeship or if they want to go to university, what options should they choose? And the answer is really whatever they want to do. Everything we do gets the students at Key Stage 5 into university or apprenticeships. It varies from year to year where our final students end up at their destinations, but it's always down to the student's choice because of the qualifications that they do allow them to make that progress.
As you can see, Jazz Caller's joined us, who's another assistant principal as part of the UTC. And he's in charge, he teaches A-level maths and different aspects, so you might be able to answer a few more questions in relation to maths. With employers, now employers do work with us in the curriculum. They are an integral part of us as a UTC. And what we look at is when employers come in to either co-teach units within engineering or come and do some experiences with you as part of work experience or internships and different aspects. So the employer engagement is part and parcel of your journey with us. What we haven't talked about is the skills that you will develop with us at the UTC. And these are what we call our attributes, and these attributes are designed with the employers, and these are the things that employers want their workforce to have. And we're able to monitor those and support you with those through your journey with it, so that you're able to know what your strengths are and actually what areas you need to work on, and how you can work on those areas so that you feel confident in moving through to the next stage. Other than that, if you haven't got any more questions, thank you for your time this afternoon. If you have, then please keep putting them in the chat. And
there is one question that's come up from Chris. So do we specialize in one sector of engineering, or is it more general? It is general engineering, but so for example, the exam board have specified there are sort of different sectors that we have to cover. So for example, there are 2 units that we have to do on electrical engineering. There are 2 units that we have to do on extra maths. There are 2 units we have to do on computing, and there are 2 units that we have to do on the practical aspects. So we don't specialize. Our engineering qualification is engineering, general engineering, but it allows the students to move forward and make their options when they go off to university or start their apprenticeships.
To add to Ian's answer, you'll specialise in civil engineering, electrical, mechanical and chemical engineering. You'll study some aspect of that during the course so that you've got a good grounding ready for that next stage. There's a question at the bottom about wanting to do an extra GCSE. We don't offer an extra GCSE in German or those. However, if you are a German speaking student and you're fluent with that, we do support students doing an extra GCSE if they want to do it. However, we can't teach it. What we will do is enter them. We will get evidence by them sitting a paper in a controlled environment, so that we know that they can achieve the grade in those areas. But we will support students doing some extra GCSEs if it's right for that student and we can accommodate. So there's a question about aircraft engineering come in. So we do build a plane, and aircraft, we do general engineering because we spoke with the universities and we spoke with employers, and actually the aircraft units are not really, the universities don't like them. So as an option, as Ian said earlier, as part of this, you can do an aircraft unit and you can work on build a plane, and that's where the aircraft engineering comes in. We do a general engineering, which is what all the employers want, what all the universities want. And that's important to say, so that you can then be specialised when you go to those companies or go to the university. And they prefer that because what happens is they go over certain units in the aircraft engineering units, but in more depth so that you're able to do it.
Can I just jump in there? So specifically, no, we don't do aviation engineering, but as I said, there is just one unit's difference. So if somebody is really, really keen and they are desperate to leave the school with a BTEC in aviation engineering, it's an optional extra unit that we can just do outside of the regular lesson time, and that converts their BTEC from engineering to aviation engineering. But everything that we do has a taste of aviation. So for example, in the computer-aided course that we run, the students will model and design parts of aircraft. When we work on their project designs, we look at the ways that aircraft have failed, and we look at how they can be redesigned and improved. It didn't run, well, it hasn't run yet this year, but last year we did go to West London University, and we use their flight simulator to look at the flight control and the theory of flight there. So there are aspects of aircraft engineering, but no, our students don't leave on the whole with aviation engineering. But of those students that go to university, I'd say at least 75% of them do go off to do aviation engineering in some form for their degree. So, you know, we are doing the right thing by them in that we leave their GCSEs and their A-levels and so on optional for them, open. But it can lead to what they want to do in the future, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. There's a question coming on from the do any extra externally. If you do an external qualification, yes, you can sit it with us if you are a student with us, if that helps. Question about work experience. Do you have any works with companies during the course? Yes, is the answer to that. We do lots of work experience at the moment. All the work experience is virtual. So companies have worked with Morgan Sindall this year, students have. And during the careers week, we're doing lots of work experience application students are applying to do. So yes, is the answer to that. Ian, is there anything I need to add to that one? You're on mute.
Sorry, I was just replying to the other question. I think somebody dropped out and has come back in again. I didn't actually hear what your question was, sorry.
We're talking about work experience in engineering.
Oh, okay, yes. The main area that we do with the work experience, actually I was in a meeting today with a group of other UTC schools. We did use this year the virtual work experience opportunity, and that meant that we had a group of students working with UTC Scarborough, I'm going to say. Obviously they didn't go and visit, but it was all done through distance learning. And that ultimately ended up with them getting an offer about doing proper work experience when we can do. We do various pipeline experiences, meaning that we have the specialists coming into the school and talking to our students.
Yeah, we do have the pipeline with employers. As I've said, you can, what happens is the employers will shortlist a number of students down to 5, and they will work with that employer over the year at 4 times during the year, where they'll spend a day there with them doing whatever aspects that they want them to do, but teaching them the skills that they need. Thank you for your time this afternoon. Hopefully it's been informative. Hopefully we've answered all your questions and been able to hopefully see you in September.